And now Sister Bettina Campbell will come as she unmutes her microphones to join us on this evening. Sister Campbell.
Thank you. I'm just talking away. Good evening, National Baptist Convention USA, and welcome to our May NBCUSA Hope Health Webinar, TempleCare Matters. We acknowledge our national leadership, Dr. Jerry Young, President, Dr. Alvin Edwards, General Secretary, Dr. Alvin Love, who is the chair of the Faith-Based Development Initiatives, and Dr. Michael O'Miner, National Director, Liaison of NBCUSA Liaison to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In this evening's TempleCare Matter webinar, we have a special panelist who will share about the National Mental Health Month. We also share about other May suggested observances: NBCUSA Hope Mother's Day, Bells for Remembrance, Breast Cancer Awareness Sunday, which is May 14th, National Women's Health Awareness Week, May 14th through the 20th, American Stroke Association American Stroke Month, and Power to End Strokes, Sunday, May the 21st. We'll also provide a monthly update for Let's Move. And finally, I will share with you about the upcoming mental health trainings. This evening's webinar is supported by funding from NIH, All of Us Research Project, our program. We want you to join us at NBCUSA Hope team in becoming 1 in a million in one of our nation's most robust research studies. To learn more about us, you may go to www.joinallofusa.org/NBCUSA. Now, this is important because we want you to realize that we are not all monolithic. And so we are individuals and we are culturally different. And so that there are different things that affect our health. And so we want you to please go to www.joinusa.org/NBCUSA. This webinar is the latest in a series of First Tuesday TempleCare Matter webinars that have evolved into hybrid events with virtual and in-person watching gatherings in our local NBCUSA congregations. And so we want to start now about giving you some updates. And the first update is on COVID-19. And we are still in an endemic mode for COVID-19. We continue to hear about our many outbreaks across the country. The good news is that the immunizations, those who are immunized, will have minimal effects. For those who are not immunized, it's bad news because you're still at risk. We have several health observances this month. To begin our overview of these observances, Minister Geraldine Moore will share about National Stroke Awareness Month and Power Sunday. Minister Moore.
Thank you, Sister Bettina. The month of May is National Stroke Awareness Month. When it comes to strokes, every second counts. Nearly 2 million brain cells die each minute a stroke remains untreated. Rapid access to medical treatment oftentimes makes the difference between full recovery and permanent disability. We all need to know the signs of a stroke and act fast, F-A-S-T. FAST is an acronym of the action steps that we need to take in the signs of stroke. The F stands for face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulties, and T stands for time. It's time to call 911 if someone is having a stroke. Let me share with you a few facts about strokes. Number one, strokes can happen to anyone at any age. And 80% of all strokes can be preventable. Stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States and cause severe disability. On the average, 1 person dies from strokes every 4 minutes. More than 795 people have strokes each year in the United States. Strokes kill almost 130,000 of the 800 Americans who die of cardiovascular disease. That is 1 out of 19 deaths from all causes. On the third Sunday in May, many of our National Baptist churches will observe Power to End Stroke Sunday. You can get more information and get a toolkit by emailing info@hopenbc.com for Power Sunday Toolkit. Thank you, Sister Patina, and back to you.
Thanks, Minister Moore. Now let us turn to this evening's feature, National Mental Health Month 2023. National Health is Wealth, especially during Mental Health Awareness Month, which is celebrated in May. This stigma around mental health and treatment has long existed, even though it's getting better. Still, people hesitate to seek help or even talk about it, even with their loved ones or other friends and families, because they fear being judged and facing unnecessary backlash. Simple logic dictates that if you are hurt anywhere, we must seek treatment to get better. This applies to both our mental and our physical well-being. So we are privileged this evening to have an outstanding panelist for this discussion that we're going to have, Dr. Tiffany Haynes. Dr. Tiffany is a PhD has a PhD in clinical psychologist with expertise in mental health services, research, intervention development, and community-based participatory research, otherwise known as CBPR. Dr. Haynes completed a master's degree and a doctorate in psychology at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. She later completed a postdoctoral fellowship in advanced psychology at Central Arkansas Veterans Healthcare System in Little Rock, Arkansas. She is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Health Behavior and Health Education at the University of Arkansas of Medicine, the Fay W. Boozman College of Public Health. As a faculty member, Dr. Haynes has dedicated her career to improving access to and use of mental health services within underserved communities, with a specific emphasis on building partnerships with faith communities. Dr. Haynes received a KL2 Mentor Career Development Award to examine the relationship between religious beliefs and attitudes about mental health services. Her findings from that study have been used to develop a faith-based mental health intervention that is currently being tested through an NIMHD-funded U01. Additionally, Dr. Haynes is the co-founder of the Arkansas Faith Networks, which is a coalition of places of worship, healthcare organizations, health researchers that partner together to reduce health disparities. And we are so blessed, again, to have you and this outstanding panelist. So, Dr. Haynes, would you come in, please? Is Dr. Haynes here? Well, while we're waiting for her, what we will do is just move on to the spotlight our national NBC USA landing page. Okay, now we remind everyone that about NBCUSA USA collaboration with NIH All of Us research program. Our community isn't just unique in culture and traditions, but also in our health needs. Participating in the All of Us research program is a step toward making sure that health research considers all of our needs. Visit www.joinallofus.org/NBCUSA now to enroll in the program and to help make research more inclusive. #JoinAllOfUs today. I see Dr. Tiffany has joined us. Again, we are so honored and privileged to have her here with us today. And so we're going to turn it over to you, Doctor.
Get ready to share my screen, but it's such an honor to be here to share with you on today, especially during this month, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's such an important month because I know that your mission for these TempleCare sessions is to talk about how we can be the healthiest faith community that we can be. And so I know that as we're doing that, we need to know that addressing emotional wellness, there is no health if we're not also talking about emotional wellness as well. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about addressing emotional wellness in our churches. And again, just start giving you that disclaimer that there is no health without mental health. But let's talk about what emotional wellness is. And we know that emotional wellness is the ability to handle stress, change, and hard times. We have always going to have stress. We're always going to have change. We're always going to have hard times. There's not a time where we're not going to have those. And so emotional wellness doesn't mean the absence of that. It means that we are going to be able to handle that and cope with it as well as we can. And so our emotional wellness is when we know that we're as good as we can be, or we're at our best. That's how we're knowing we're on that emotionally well side. We think about emotional wellness as a spectrum. And so on the green side that you see on your screen, we're talking about excelling. And that's when you are killing it. You are doing the best that you can be. And you're like, nothing can stop me. We love to be there, but we're not always right at that excelling. Sometimes we're a little bit in this yellow part where we're just surviving. So we just came through the pandemic COVID-19, and some would say we're still in it. And we still have several other stresses that are going on. And sometimes it's just, you're just able to say, I'm surviving. So you may still have some issues like being worried or nervous or irritable, but you're not to the point where you're in that red where you're in crisis. And so we can move along this spectrum from day to day, week to week. We can go from excelling to struggling, and sometimes we're in crisis. And when we're talking about emotional wellness, we're not talking about always being in that green, but how can we try to be in the green as much as possible? And so that starts with being able to recognize when we're not thriving and excelling, and then being able to do the things that moves us that way. So this is important for us to know when we're talking about emotional wellness, is that we're not always emotionally well here in America. When we're talking about frequent mental distress, or when we say that our mental health was not good, about 15% of Americans report that. And if you look at this map, those dark blue states, a lot of us in the South, some of us in or the Midwest, we have even more, almost 16 to 17% of our residents are saying that their mental health is not good for at least 2 weeks out of that month. And so that not only are we talking about that emotional unwellness or that frequent mental distress, but when we get in crisis, we're talking about mental illness. And we know that about 50% of adults are going to experience a mental illness during their lifetime. That means that somebody in our congregation is or will experience mental illness. So this isn't something that's not happening in our community or that's not happening around us. People around us are struggling. We also know that mental illness doesn't come with just one, just have depression or something else. They typically come with several mental disorders. And so we have about 15% who are going to have one disorder, and then 5%, almost 6% are going to have at least 2 and 3 or more. So that means that we are talking about people who are having more levels of illness. And that is important for us to know, because when we start talking about comorbidities or having more than 2 disorders, we're starting to talk about moving more towards that red side of the spectrum. And we want to be able to move towards that thriving and excelling part. And mental health issues usually begin when we're young. So we don't want to forget our youth and start talking about mental health when we're adults, because young people are experiencing more and more mental health issues. And so about half of mental health disorders start by age 14. So again, we have to start having this conversation about mental health, because more and more people are having this issue as they age. And then in the United States, we have about 41% of the people who are experiencing mental health disorders are actually getting care. So that means that about 1 out of 3 individuals are actually getting the mental health care that they need. And so that means that something is getting in the way. And a lot of times what's getting in the way is that we don't know the difference between that green excelling and sometimes that yellow struggling. Sometimes we've gotten so used to being kind of in that struggling zone that we don't know we could be better in the excelling zone. So we don't know that our emotional wellness could be better. And we also have struggles with trying to find a healthcare provider that's going to be able to help with our emotional wellness needs. And we don't also know how to have that conversation with other people when they need it. So here at UAMS, we started talking about what can we do and what can we prepare ourselves to do to be able to help the people in our communities and in our congregations. And so we have what we call the Move Toward Emotional Wellness Guide. And the goal is really to improve knowledge about emotional wellness. It's really to hit that first note about how do we know when our emotional wellness isn't good. And the acronym MOVE, we go through each one of that in the guide. And the first one is M for mark any changes in behavior or activity. So I like to think of this as on your car. You know, my dad always taught me when we're driving to watch your dashboard and know when something pops up that means something is kind of on the, you know, something's going wrong and we might need to take it in. So if you're seeing changes and they start suddenly out of the blue, or they're lasting more than 2 weeks, so more days, more often than not, you're feeling this way and it's making your life harder than it usually is, then that is going to be something that you want to pay attention to, because it means a change of behavior that could be related to some emotional wellness issues. So this includes eating changes. This is eating more or less than usual. And so that means now this is a change. So if you were already struggling with eating, it may not be the same thing, but if you're having a change where you're eating more or less than usual. If you're changing your energy levels where you just don't feel like you can make it through the day, or on the flip side, you have so much energy you cannot sit still. And then we have changes in our sleep, sleeping less than usual or feeling tired all of the time, or having mood changes where you're worrying a lot. And for African-American individuals, this could look like irritability. So it's not just, you know, changes in feeling sad. Sometimes it's being irritable and angry. And then if you start avoiding your family or your friends, or you start being confused, these are things that we want to pay attention to, because it doesn't always mean it's emotional wellness issue going on, but it could be. And so we want to make sure that we're paying attention to that. We also, when we're talking about marking, we say that sometimes other people can see it better than we can. And so we talk about how do we have those hard conversations with someone that we love about their emotional wellness. And we give some conversation starters. And we know that those conversation starters, they'll open up conversations. So we say, I noticed you're not eating much lately. Instead of saying, just hang in there or tough it out. Or I worry you may not be emotionally healthy. Those usually stop conversation. So in this guide, we talk about how do we have those hard conversations so that we can help others move towards emotional wellness. And then O means to own your emotional wellness. There are things that we can do every day that are going to help us stay on track with our emotional wellness. And that means exercising. We should be getting 150 minutes a week of some good old cardio exercise. That's about 3 days of 50 minutes or more, or 5 days of 30 minutes of exercise a week. Eating those healthy foods. Usually when we're stressed or we're not emotionally well, we reach for those comfort foods, the chocolate, the macaroni and cheese, the pound cake. We reach for those things first, but we really want to start reaching for those vegetables and lean proteins because they have that magnesium that helps us with our emotional wellness. We want to make sure we're getting plenty of sleep. We talk about 6 to 8 hours per night. And that means that we're getting quality sleep, that we're not up and down and moving around and not getting that quality sleep, but we're getting 6 to 8 hours of actual quality sleep. And that, that starts with us even making sure our atmosphere is conducive to relaxation. So, do we have a new mattress? Have we gotten a mattress that's gotten a little old that we might need to change it out? Is it time for us to go buy some new pillows? Those things are important for our sleep because it helps us set the atmosphere in our bedrooms for relaxation and for sleep. But not just that, it means, doing healthy activities, things that make you happy, things that you enjoy. So make sure you're getting those hobbies and that you like to do. I enjoy singing, and so I'm a member of my church choir because that's not just my service to God, but it's also helpful for me and it helps my own emotional wellness. And then you want to spend time with people who support your emotional health. And we all have people in our life that sometimes take a lot of energy to be around. We love them, but they take a lot of energy. And when we leave there, we're not feeling at our best. But we need some of those people where you don't have to say much. You can just call them and they're immediately helping you with your emotional wellness just by making you laugh, by giving you encouragement. So we need to know who those people are. And so in these guides, we help you set those goals so that you can talk about how am I going to get in exercise? How am I going to get in food? How am I going to do things that I enjoy? And who are those people that I want around me that support my emotional wellness? And then when you get to the V, we talk about how do you connect with a professional? So sometimes we need more support than just what we can do on our own, and that's okay. It is okay for us not to be okay, but it's not okay for us to stay there because we're not willing to reach out for help. And so there's ways for us to talk about visiting a professional and how we start that conversation and what do we do and what does therapy look like and how do I need to prepare for it. And so in this guide, we talk a little bit about how we prepare for therapy, how we make sure we take in what's going on, our problem, and what we hope to see come from it. And then last is expect to keep working towards your emotional wellness. We know that improving our emotional wellness is a lifetime commitment. It's not something that we can just do one time. So, there's a meme out there that says, oh, I did one crunch and now I expected I lost some weight. And it doesn't work like that. You have to keep doing it. So our emotional wellness is the same thing. We can't just go exercise one day or 1 week or go and talk to the professional one time and think that we're done with our emotional wellness for our lifetime and year. It is something that we have to keep doing, keep working at, and so that we're able to make that lifetime commitment that we want to keep improving our emotional wellness. So if you're interested in getting this guide for your congregations or for your community, they're available at the Center for Health Literacy. And you can go to the website, which is on this screen, but you can always also email them at healthliteracy@uams.edu or call them at 501-686-2595. And you just tell them you're interested in the Move Towards Emotional Wellness Guide, and they will send you that. If you're in the state of Arkansas, then those copies for you are typically free. If you're outside of the state of Arkansas, there may be a cost, but they will talk to you about what that is. And they'll send you those guides and you can pass them out, and people can start doing their own study of that for them to work with themselves. But we also have people who do it in the small groups. So we've had Sunday school classes kind of go through it together, or women's ministry go through it together, so that you have some support as you're working towards your emotional wellness. Again, thank you for the opportunity to share. I don't take it lightly that you've taken time and you chose to invite me here. I do want to just let you know that if you want to get in contact with me, feel free to give me an email at tfhaynes@uams.edu, or you can follow me on social media at Instagram and Facebook, and that's Tiffany Haynes or T Haynes Z. So thank you again. I hope that you all are encouraged today to pay attention to your mental health, because there's no health without mental health. Thank you.
Wow, you covered a lot there, Doctor. Is there anything else you wish to share?
I do want to say that oftentimes for faith communities, when we're getting started with talking about mental health, you may need some additional resources. And so if you're not in the Arkansas area and you want to get some resources, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, or NAMI, is a great place to go. And every state has a NAMI chapter. And so you can go to the nami.org and look up your state, and you can get in contact with your office, and they can provide materials that can be helpful for achieving emotional wellness, or encouraging your members about emotional wellness for you.
Thank you. Oh, you've really blessed us. We can see that you're very passionate and also very an expert in this subject. And so we will have some questions from our audience, I'm sure. We'll take a couple of questions right now. So what I would like to start, you talked about your book, and you also mentioned NAMI, but when pastors or our congregations are trying to start a program, what are some things that they should take in consideration? You're muted, Doctor.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. When we start talking about mental health, a lot of people think that it has to be something very big or something like that. And we know that some of the things that you're already doing are good for emotional wellness. So when you're having those groups get together, like the women's ministry or the youth department, that is good for supporting people through emotional wellness. And so starting with what you already have and then building on top of that is a way to make sure that it's in your congregation, and that is also something that is sustainable. Because sometimes we bring in programs, but then when somebody leaves, that program has to leave too. But if it's connected to what we're already doing, that's a standard, a permanent part of our ministry, then it's going to be something that stays, with us for a while. So I encourage you to look at what you already have available, reach out for additional resources, from places like NAMI, Arkansas, or not, well, NAMI, Arkansas, if you're in Arkansas, NAMI, if you're not in Arkansas, is I guess the state offices. Get those resources, but connect them to what you're already doing.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will move on, but we will address more questions later. So now we'll remind everyone about the NBCUSA collaboration with NIH's All of Us research program. Our community isn't just unique in culture and traditions, but we're also in our medical and health needs. Participating in All of Us research program is a step toward making our health research is making sure health research considers all of our needs. Visit www.joinallofusorg.org/NBCUSA now to enroll in the program and to help make research more inclusive. #Join all of us today. This evening, Sister Nettie Johnson has a double duty. First, she's going to share with us about bells for remembrance. Then she's going to give us a monthly Let's Move National Baptist update. So let's get ready for a double dose of our NBCUSA movement guru, Sister Nettie Johnson. Sister Nettie?
Well, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Sister Bettina, and thank you for our speaker for that very important information. May is Mother's Day month. And yeah, I called it a month because it probably needs to be a month because mothers are so important. It has been said that perhaps the reason people respond so universally to mother's love is because its depth and its breadth typifies the love of our Savior. Mothers are important. Mother's Day is really special. And so on Mother's Day, many NBCUSA churches will observe an event called Bells for Remembrance. And this is for Black women and breast cancer. Bells for Remembrance is basically an event that congregations hold to remind women ages 40 and over to get annual mammogram screenings. Now, this is particularly important for African-American women because breast cancer is our most commonly diagnosed cancer, and it is now the leading cause of cancer deaths for Black women, according to the American Cancer Society. Got a tickle. While Black women are less likely to be diagnosed, we do tend to die 40% more than women of other colors. So on Mother's Day, we want to raise breast cancer screening awareness. And we're asking congregations to ring a bell, strike a piano key, and have a brief discussion about the importance of mammograms. Now, we do have a toolkit that churches can use to help with this, and it is available. Just email us at info@hopenbc.com. And we are encouraging your church to please join us in the Bells for Remembrance for breast cancer on Mother's Day. And for Let's Move National Baptist, which I typically share with every month, this time our Tuesday webinar came like right smack dab at the very beginning of the month. And so we do not have a lot of data. The data is actually more important than the drawing. So I'm going to encourage all of our Let's Move National Baptist members to please respond to your weekly email. If you don't have it yet, it'll pop in tomorrow. Get your data in, and we'll be sending the updates about the new movement activity for the month, as well as a drawing winner. We'll be sharing that via your emails. So please do take note. And if you are not a member, you can join us at letsmovenbc.com. That's all for me. And thank you so much for your time. Back to you, Sister Bettina.
Thank you so much, Sister Nettie. And before I ask Sister Carper to come, I want to just stop for a minute. That I can't let this opportunity to testify pass by, and I would be remiss if I didn't stop here and say thank you to God for 20 years this year of being cancer-free. So it's important, ladies, that we get our health taken care of. So now I'll ask Sister Linda to please come and talk to us about our National Lupus Awareness Month.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone, and thank you again for joining us. As we know, May is filled with national awareness events. Along with that is National Lupus Awareness Month. And this month, we do want to celebrate and provide contributions to those who have been impacted by the community. Now, lupus is an inflammatory disease and it's caused when the immune system attacks its own tissues and affects the overall well-being of the person in many ways. So this month, as we raise awareness about lupus and the impact it has on an individual's physical, emotional, and economic aspect of their personal life, we ask you to wear purple. I have the purple scarf. So I wanted to know, did you know that the colors for lupus awareness was actually purple? On Wednesday, May 10th, which is next week, World Lupus Day, we want you to participate in this lupus awareness event by wearing purple. The theme for this year is United, Together, and Powerful. So please remember, Wednesday, May 10th is World Lupus Day, and we want you to put your purple on to show support for the millions of those who are affected by lupus. And it's an easy way to raise lupus awareness. So again, when you want to participate more than just wearing purple, you can participate in a lupus walk. So check the lupus.org walk to end lupus now, and I'll put that link in the chat to find a lupus walk near you. There is a lupus walk taking place in your state. So please take photos. Remember to showcase the All of Us flyer and email us your photos at info@hopenbc.com. And just remember, if you're not able to participate in an actual walk, coming up in November 16th is the virtual lupus walk. So there are many ways for you to participate as we raise awareness about lupus. Again, thank you, Sister Bettina, and the chat will have the links for the information regarding lupus. Back to you, Sister Bettina.
Thank you. That's a lot of wonderful information. And when you start talking about virtual walks, now you're talking about my kind of walk. I can join in that. Okay, so I will give you a little update about our mental health training program. On Saturday, May the 20th, we will have our mental health first aid training. Remember, this training is free. It is virtual, but if you want to participate, we need you to please email me at Bettina, BETTINA, @HopeNBC.com. And we need you to email me by May 15th because there is pre-work that needs to be done in order for you to be able to receive the link to actually participate in the session. So again, Saturday, May 15th, from 9 to 4, we'll be holding our mental health first aid session for adults. And we would like for you to let us know by May 15th if you plan to participate. And again, that's Bettina at HopeNBC.com.
Oh, you're muted, Sister Bettina.
I'm sorry, I don't know how I did that. Okay, National Women's Health. Our National Women's Health Week starts each year on Mother's Day. National Women's Health Week encourages women and girls to make their health a priority, to learn more about our lives and to have safer and healthier lives. Women, we personify many roles in our life. Two out of every 3 caregivers in the United States are women, meaning that we provide daily or regular support for children, adults, and chronic illness, people with chronic illness or disabilities. Women who are caregivers, we're more at risk for having being physically and mentally unwell. So we want you to do preventive care to keep the disease away and or to detect problems early so that treatment is more effective. Protect your health by identifying the care that you may need. So oftentimes we are so busy caring about everybody else that we forget to care about ourselves. So ladies, this is a friendly reminder to you that you need to also take care of yourselves. Do what they say on the airport. Put your mask on first. So make sure you're healthy first. We've covered a lot this evening, but the best part is coming now. We want to hear from you. You may type in the chat or raise your virtual hand. For those watching on social media, we'll do our best to capture your questions. Once again, we acknowledge the significant financial support from NIH All of Us research program. Let us not forget all of our May marketing updates. You may download the complete list of health services from our website, www.hopenbc.com. Again, www.hopenbc.com. You will find additional information and resources on NBC Hope's webpage, which is www.hopenbc.com. So now let's talk about our upcoming events. And we're going to turn it over to Sister Linda to go through those for us.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Sister Bettina. So we have upcoming events scheduled for, remember, mark your calendars for Tuesday, June 6th at 7:30 p.m. Our TempleCare webinar will begin at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So mark your calendars. Also remember that for the month of June, the Summer of Health and Wellness Vacation Bible School and Summer Camp. It's part of our health observances, and it's Men's Health Month. We also want to remind you, if you are participating or planning to visit with the National Congress, our National Health Fair will be held in Louisville, Kentucky, June 19th through 23rd. The Fireworks Safety Month is in June, and it also runs through July 4th. And again, our Minority Mental Health Month. We will provide the links in the chat, but remember, you may join us via the web, social media. We spotlight information on our Hope webpage, Facebook page. Twitter feed is Hope_NBCUSA. And then the YouTube channel is NBCUSA Hope. So if you would like to enroll in our NBC Hope Health Ministry training, our Health Ambassador training, please email us at info@hopenbc.com or call, and this information will be put in the chat, 901-603-0762. So we would appreciate your feedback. We ask that you complete the survey regarding this evening's webinar, and all of these links that we've discussed will be placed in the chat. Back to you, Sister Bettina. Oh, I see Dr. Minor on.
Okay, thank you again so much, Sister Linda. So now it comes your turn to participate. So we want you to either, you can open up your mic and ask a question, or you can put your questions in the chat. For you on social media, we'll do our best to be able to answer the questions that you have.
All right, Sister Bettina, good evening. Good
Yes,
evening.
sir. Good evening.
All right, we have a special announcement we want to make tonight. I know that I wasn't scheduled to be on tonight because it is the middle of our state convention, but good evening, National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated family. I have a very special announcement to share with you on this evening. We are beginning a special May Elevate for the All of Us research program. And our theme for the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated is personal. It's personal. You'll be seeing messaging on our Facebook page, on Twitter, and we'll do some short videos talking about this initiative and why it's important. It's personal. So for me, the All of Us research program is personal because I have earlier, I guess now, it was about 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and it's a genetic disease. And I've been battling it for quite some time, But the good news about it is that I have some great doctors who work with me, so there's not been a problem overall for me. So I'm saying that for you to join all of us to be a part of this effort, because it's personal. Hopefully by doing this, we can find some way that we can not only detect ulcerative colitis, but we're able to find some cures for it. So NBCUSA Nation, the All of Us Research Program is personal. And you'll be hearing from one of our teammates across, and we invite you to be a part of it and put some posts and other things about where we can do it. Remember this, is if you hadn't already gone to journalofus.org/NBCUSA, or you share it with somebody else, let them know for us at the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, the All of Us Research Program is personal. Thank you all. God bless you. God keep you. We turn it back now to Sister Bettina. Thank you for this time.
Thank you for the wonderful announcement. I'm so glad that you came on to share it with us. So there is, again, we're open for questions. Are there any questions in the chat? Our own social media? Sister Linda?
Did have a comment about the mental health webinar. I did put the information in, but you mentioned about the pre-work, so they need to let you know by May 15th, email you, right?
Okay. No questions? I know that Sister Dr. Tiffany did a wonderful job, but okay. Well, if there are no questions, then this concludes our Q&A. So we want to appreciate the tireless work of our NBCUS H.O.P.E team, Dr. Michael O. Minor, Dr. Desi Levy, Sister Lottie Minor, yours truly, Bettina Campbell, Pastor Dexter Moraney, Sister Ellen McKnight, Sister Felice Washington, Minister Geraldine Moore, Sister Loretta Miller, Dr. Lavora Williams, Sister Nettie Johnson, Dr. Marion Talley, and Brother Thomas Duke Robinson. Our seven regional coordinators, Pastor Daniel Blackburn is Northeast, Brooklyn Rogers, Southeast, Pastor Bernard Montgomery, Southwest 1, Sister Linda Carper, Southwest 2, Sister Teresa Fales Farr, Midwest, Sister Norma P. Jackson, West, Brother Richmond Johnson, Far West. To connect to our regional coordinators, you can email info@hopenbc.com, info@hopenbc.com. We know that some of you have additional questions, so we'll formally close this evening's webinar in just a moment. We'll then open the mics for a general Q&A session. We hope to see you on Tuesday, June 6, 2023 for our next TempleCare Matters webinar, which will be on men's health, and we'll have Dr. Kenneth Key will be from the Michigan State University will be talking with us. Finally, we acknowledge our president, Dr. Jerry Young, who reminds us to envision the future exceptionally. This has been a production of the National Baptist Convention USA, Inc., the nation's largest Black denomination. God bless and keep you is our prayer.